Welcome back to Minty English in our business series here. Today, I'm going to give you some 7 common CV gaps. And what I mean by that, there are 7 common ways you don't fill your CV in your timeline, okay? How you're going to explain that to the person you're having an interview with, okay? Well, first off, before you do that, you need to structure your answer well, all right? You need to prepare yourself because I promise you, they're going to ask you, well, I see there's a gap in your work history here, okay? What were you doing during that time? You need to make sure you have an answer for these questions because they will ask you, all right? Please, whatever you do, do not say, I had to take time off due to an illness. I mean, this is what a lot of people use. Please don't use it, okay? Unless it's absolutely necessary, then use it. But this is one of the common CV gaps, and that is probably the most common. You take off due to an illness, whether it's your illness or whether someone in your family is sick. Maybe you have to take care of them. And if that's the case, you have to do that. Okay, we will do that. Now, that brings us to number 2, which is similar to number 1. And that is you were taking care of a relative, right? You know, it's better to come up with something. I mean, I'm not saying lie to your interviewer if you're trying to get a job. Please don't do that. But these are your most common gaps when you're doing your CV and going for an interview. All right? There's no need to go into details about it. You don't have to say, well, my mother was sick and, you know, she couldn't take care of herself. I had to change her diapers. We don't need to know all of this. All right? You don't need details here. You need to be direct, to the point, say it and move on, okay? Another common excuse people have, or I won't say excuse, another common gap in your CV is that, sorry to laugh, but yes, one of my previous roles was redundant. Now, if you don't know what redundant means, okay, look, redundant means it just kept happening over and over again, right? If you're going to use this excuse, please be very sure that you say why it was redundant. Okay, for example, due to budget cuts or something, all right? Or restructuring, the company was restructuring. But try to use some examples that's strong, of strong performance, or how can I say, achievements, to kind of balance that out. Because when people see this or hear this, they tend to not be too impressed, okay? This one, I have actually heard this one. I went traveling. Well, look, some people would use this, and if you're going to use this, I think it's good that you focus on why you traveled, okay? And you need to also focus on emphasizing your quest for personal enhancement. You needed to travel for personal enhancement or personal development. You know, for me as a teacher, Here, I would say I traveled for personal development, being here teaching in a foreign country, okay? But you also have to make very sure and very clear, okay, that you're now ready to return back to work, okay? And then explain why the opportunity excites you and why you're here for this job, all right? All right. The fifth common gap would be, I've been looking for a job. Now, this one is pretty self-explanatory. A lot of people will ask, how many jobs have you looked for? How many jobs have you applied for? Don't lie, because a lot of companies will check on it to see, okay? Sometimes the economy's not good and we don't have jobs for people. So yes, that is very common too, okay? This one is very common too, especially for mothers, all right? You took time off to care for your kids, all right? Maybe you're a single mother, you know, and you needed to do what you needed to do for your family, okay? The last one here is I went back into education. I don't know if I would say I went back into education, but yeah. Here, I'm gonna get rid of the first one here so I can get the seventh one up here. Number 7 would be, now what we mean by went back to education is that maybe we went back to college or we went back to school to further our education, okay? Explain why you went back for that, right? And talk about the specific skills that you went for, all right? Why you decided to do that. What did you feel you were lacking so you needed to go back to college for that, right? Okay, well, there you go. That is our 7 common CV gaps. So keep those in mind, and don't forget to like us down below. And if you got a suggestion, put it in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Later.